News Bulletin live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman Television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq greets His Highness the Emir of the State of Kuwait on the occasion of His Highness's assumption to the throne anniversary. His Majesty the Sultan issues a royal pardon on a number of inmates on the occasion of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's birthday anniversary. On behalf of His Majesty the Sultan, His Highness Sayyid Shihab bin Tariq Al Saeed presides over a ceremony at Al Mawlid Hall in Al Alam Palace for the recital of the biography of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And the 34th ministerial meeting of the Agricultural Cooperation and Food Security Committee for the Gulf Cooperation Council countries is held in Muscat. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq sends a cabal of greetings to His Highness Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, Emir of the State of Kuwait, on the occasion of His Highness's assumption to the throne anniversary. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, the Supreme Commander, issued a royal pardon on a number of inmates convicted in different cases. Those honored by the royal pardon were 162 prisoners, including 94 foreign inmates, according to an official sources at the Royal Oman Police. The royal pardon of His Majesty the Sultan coincides with the Prophet Muhammad's peace be upon him birthday anniversary for the Hijri year 1445, and in consideration of the families of those inmates. On behalf of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, His Highness Sayyid Shihab bin Tariq Al Saeed, Deputy Prime Minister for Defense Affairs, presided over a ceremony held at Al Mawlid Hall in Al Alam Palace for the recitation of the biography of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on the Prophet's birthday anniversary. The recitation was attended by a number of Their Highnesses and Excellencies, the ministers, commanders of Sultan's armed forces and Royal Oman Police, heads of diplomatic missions of Islamic countries in the Sultanate of Oman, and a number of Their Excellencies, the undersecretaries. The Sultanate of Oman, represented by the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Wealth and Water Resources, chaired today the 34th ministerial meeting of the Agricultural Cooperation and Food Security Committee for the Gulf Cooperation Council countries at the headquarters of the advisory body of the Supreme Council of the Arab Gulf States. The meeting discussed a number of topics, including the fertilizers and agricultural soil improves law and its executive regulations for the GCC countries, the organic inputs and products law and its executive regulations. It also discussed the unified purchase of veterinary medicines and vaccines, the veterinary quarantine law, the executive regulations of the law for the practice of veterinary medical professions in the GCC countries. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Dr. Saud bin Hamoud Al Habsi, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Water Resources. International news. North Korea has adopted a constitutional amendment to enshrine its policy on nuclear force, state media reported today, as the country's leaders pledged to accelerate production of nuclear weapons to deter what he called U.S. provocations. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said, addressing the parliament, the DPRK's nuclear force building policy has been made permanent as the basic law of the state, which no one is allowed to flout with anything. Kim went on to stress the need to push ahead with the work for exponentially boosting the production of nuclear weapons, and that diversifying the nuclear strike means and deploying them in different services. South Korea's Unification Ministry said the revised constitution showed Pyongyang's strong will not to abandon its nuclear program. Hundreds of people were rescued from floods in Greece today as a new storm hit the country just weeks after a flood left 17 dead. The fire services said it had assisted over 250 people in the region surrounding the central city of Volos, where a curfew was declared Wednesday as Storm Elias made landfall. The storm also hit the islands of Evia, prompting emergency traffic restrictions in the north of the island. Officials said Storm Daniel left 17 dead, destroyed crops and killed tens of thousands of farm animals across a wide area in the heart of Greece's agricultural production. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq greets His Highness the Emir of the State of Kuwait on the occasion of His Highness's assumption to the throne anniversary. His Majesty the Sultan issues a royal pardon on a number of inmates on the occasion of Prophet Muhammad's birthday anniversary. On behalf of His Majesty the Sultan, His Highness Sayyid Shihab bin Tariq Al Said presides over a ceremony at Al Mawlid Hall in Al Alam Palace for the recital of the biography of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And the 34th Ministerial Meeting of the Agricultural Cooperation and Food Security Committee for the Gulf Cooperation Council countries is held in Muscat. And we do apologize for some of the news that which was not read due to some technical fault. And with that, we do end tonight's news bulletin. Thank you for joining us, and good night.